If everybody is ready, for the last time, I call to order the Oak Island Town Council regular meeting of December 8th, 2015. We have something a little bit different this evening. Councilor Jim Medlin is going to give our invocation, and then in lieu of the Pledge of Allegiance, we're going to have Janet Murray singing our national anthem for us. I've been meaning to do this for 6 years, so tonight's going to be special. So the council will enter into its invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the privilege of serving our town and our fellow man. Thank you for the opportunities you've given all of us over the years. Pray that as we embark in a new chapter tonight in the history of the town, that we would all keep in our minds and our focus the reason we're here. That is to serve the people of this town. Thank you for our blessings because there are so many. We live in such a beautiful place, and we're so grateful. And we would lift our military, our troops tonight who are in faraway places, in harm's way. Some even risking their lives probably right now so that we can stand and do what we're doing right now. We're so grateful, and we thank you so much. And we pray you'd bless them, guard them, protect them. Most of all, we pray that you would give us your wisdom tonight as we deal with the issues and the business of this town. We make our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you, Janet. That was special. We have a public hearing tonight. The purpose of the public hearing is to receive citizens' comments on proposed language to amend Section 18 of the Code of Ordinances to include a definition of grocery stores and to add grocery stores, spas and health facilities, sporting goods, shopping center, pharmacy and proprietary stores, and garden center and florists as permitted uses in the CR commercial recreation zone in the table of uses, Section 18-116. I believe this is our second public hearing on this. We have Darrell Royal has signed up to speak on the public hearing, please.
Darrell Royal, 216 Northeast 47th Street. Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. A little bit of history. The CB and CR business districts are the two districts that we have for commercial activity on the island. And both of those districts were in the former towns of Long Beach and Yopon Beach, going back to 1986 and 1984, defined as they are currently today. So for over 30 years, these two districts have been in place with their unique distinctions and purposes for each district. The purpose of the commercial recreation district, according to our code of ordinance, shall be to provide for, protect, and encourage a grouping of beachfront enterprises providing accommodation and recreations to persons wishing to lodge near the strand or participate in the various water sports available to them. I fail to see how grocery stores, drugstores, garden centers, shopping centers, sporting goods, and spa and health facilities meet that purpose. Furthermore, the 2010 CAMA Land Use Plan in Section 2A7B states that the county will encourage redevelopment of the central commercial areas in the community utilizing the community use, community business zoning tools, and will discourage strip commercial development in the other commercial zoning districts. In the agenda memo to council, the discussion about adding shopping centers specifically points to strip-type shopping centers, which is inconsistent with the land use plan. Furthermore, it recommends, the proposal before you recommends that shopping centers be a permitted use in the CR district, while they are conditional uses in the CB and the CLD district, which is, of course, on the mainland side. So it raises a question of why you would not require the same conditions for that use in a CR if you wish to add that use to that district. We are in the middle of a process of our comprehensive land use plan and UDO. And I think that that would be the appropriate time and process to discuss how we may want to restructure, if at all, our commercial districts on the island. So I would respectfully encourage you to not approve the request before you tonight, because it is inconsistent not only with the definition of the commercial recreation district, but also with our land use plan, policy 2A7B. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Royal. That's all I've signed up to speak on this public hearing. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak, please? If not, Chair will entertain a motion to close the public hearing, please.
Madam Mayor, I move to close the public hearing.
Motion by Councilor Painter,
Second.
second by Councilor Medlin. All those in favor? And it is unanimous. Action on the public hearing. Does any council member wish to speak?
Down that way.
I'd like to make a note that in our packets, we have the statements of consistency on each of these amendments from the planning board. Statement of consistency and zoning recommendation, and stating that the planning board recommends it because it is consistent with the 2010 CAMA Land Use Plan for each of these different uses.
Mayor,
Please.
we embarked on a new comprehensive land use plan, and we've had a lot of public input, and I mean a whole lot of public input, how they want their town in the future. And I think for us to go ahead and approve this right now would actually be slapping these people in the face and telling them what their thoughts are. Doesn't matter. And I think this needs to be put off until the new land use plan comes back out, and then we revisit it and see if it goes along with it.
I agree.
Okay. Would you like to, Madam Clerk, do we need to take any action on the public hearing since, or does any council member wish to make a motion to take action? If not,
I was prepared to do that. However, I don't have a lot of heartburn if we put it off. I do think that it is something that we need to consider doing at some point in time, whether it's this month or next month. According to the document we have on page 4 in our packet from the planning board, Mayor Wallace just read part of that to you. Our planning board does think it is consistent, and they have made a recommendation that we do approve it. And at some point in time, we're going to have to start considering what our planning board says after they spent their time studying and researching. And I'm just going to make a motion that we approve it as presented in our packet.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there anyone like to make a second, please?
Madam Mayor, if I
Please.
can make one comment. The comments about the UDO, I don't see Jacob, is he in the back of the room? I'm thinking it's going to be 6 to 12 months before the UDO is ready, at a minimum. So the board at some time may want to consider if this rezoning or another, it may be appropriate. It's not going to be in the next month or two, so I just want to make sure that fact was out there. It's not like it's immediately pending, so I wasn't sure the board or the public was aware of that.
Do we have any business, any individuals that would be impacted if the council did not approve it and they had to wait until the UDO was developed?
Madam
That
Mayor,
wait 6 months?
point of order, I think we have a motion. We don't have a second yet.
Oh, we don't have, okay. The motion failed. Would you like to make a second for discussion? No? Motion fails for lack of a second. Okay, no action on the public hearing. Next is council reports. Council Weinkoff.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor. I would say it was a beautiful Saturday for parade.
Yes, it was.
I mean, absolutely beautiful. There was a large turnout, and I thank everybody for coming out. And the second thing I'd like to say is I'd like to say thank you to Betty, Danny, and Carol. This council has went above and beyond to make sure we save the taxpayers money, pay off debt, and the new audit report that's coming out tonight will show we've done it 2 years in a row. And we could not have done it without this group right here, and I want to say sincerely, thank you for everything you've done.
Good group. Council Painter.
Okay. Well, I will quickly mention that the Brunswick Shoreline Protection, there will be a Brunswick Shoreline Protection meeting Thursday, 10 o'clock at Ocean Isle Beach, and the public is invited to attend. And just to say,
Now, wait a minute. Don't- Yeah.
it's been an honor and a privilege to serve the people of Oak Island and to serve with these fine people. And also our past town manager, Steve Foster, and the current town manager, and our attorney, and our former counselor, Darrell Royal. I think we've done some good things, I believe, and we all care deeply about the island. And I know that the next council will as well, so.
That's your report.
And that's my report.
Now find a tissue
I will.
before I have to. Counselor Medlin.
Just want to thank those that spent so much time and energy in putting together the Christmas parade. It was one of the best I've seen here. I thought it was the best I've seen here. And I know that those kinds of things do take a lot of work, hard work, and we appreciate it. Just a brief couple of words about those that will be leaving us tonight. It's been a pleasure to serve with Councilor Kaiser and Councilor Painter. And after you've served together as long as we have, you kind of get that family feel. And one thing you've noticed about us, I think that speaks well of our council, is that we've not always agreed on everything over the years, over the past 4 years, but we've still been able to work together. And that says a lot about the people that will be leaving us tonight. And as far as our mayor goes, She and I were both elected at the same time, 6 years ago. And I don't think either one of us realized what we were getting ourselves into,
Or our spouses.
or our spouses, that's right. But I just want to say to Betty, Mayor Wallace, I have watched her for 6 years and have admired her professionalism. She has always kept herself above the fray. I've watched her be insulted. I've heard people be mean to her, downright hateful to her, and yet she smiled, and if they would let her before the meeting was over, she tried to hug them, and she usually did. And I've admired that about her because so often we take those kinds of things too personally, and they destroy relationships, and they eventually hurt everybody concerned. So I appreciate her impact on me that way. And just to say one more thing about her, if you don't know her, she's an animal lover. And she's going to have a lot of time now to nurse squirrels back to health.
Puppies and squirrels and possums.
And possums or anything else that needs it. And I think that in itself says a lot about her heart, don't you? Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Medlin. Councilor Scott?
It's a hard act to follow. But I would like to personally thank Carol and Betty and Danny for all the help for the new guy that came on board here. And now I won't have to say I'm the new guy anymore, but I just want to say what an honor and privilege it's been. And I feel like I have two sisters and a brother out of all of this. So thank you very much.
Well, I got two versions of what I'm going to say. The G general audience and then the PG. It's been an honor and a privilege and a blessing, and I could just go on with a dozen adjectives to serve you people for the last 4 years. It's been wonderful. We've made a lot of progress, and this bunch up here and Dara Royal that have served the first 2 years who sat to my left, it was awesome. Now, here's how I'd say it if I was back in Catawba County. This has been one heck of a ride, and I wouldn't have changed it for anything. God bless all of you, and we've done great. I'm going to miss y'all. Thank you.
I knew, what year did you adopt? Was it 2003?
2004.
2004. Danny adopted
And
his
she
dog
only had a
from me.
10-year warranty because she died this
Yes.
June there.
Had to get him through. I've begun to lose some of the puppies that were adopted 10, 12 years ago. Chris Anselmo, our fire chief, adopted one of the puppies from the first official litter of my rescue group. So Scotty, when did we meet? 2003?
Probably.
Yeah. So many of you I knew before I ever became mayor, and I've asked you not to call me mayor, not to treat me as mayor unless I'm presiding over a meeting, because I'm just Betty to all of you. I always have to do the tree lighting Friday night. Rebecca had arranged for Santa Claus to fly in a helicopter. And I told all the kids they were so special that Santa had arranged to have a helicopter so he could make sure to be here for our tree lighting Friday night. And the theme they had, Chris, your fire department did a wonderful job of bringing Santa up to Middleton Park so the kids could go and talk to Santa. I don't have the list of everybody that sang Friday night. I know Janet and Ray Murray were sort of like the MCs. Raisa Love? Russell Love. And, pardon? The Lucky Girls. Yeah, they all sang Christmas carols. And when I introduced Santa, when when Rasa came up, she was singing Let It Go from Frozen. So the kids were all just raptured. Past summer, George Napier, one of our employees, was the interim public works director, and he came to me and asked me what I thought about getting a live tree for our Christmas tree. It's the first time I realized our Christmas tree has always been artificial. And he worked with some of our employees, Mike Goodson, Raquel Carter, and George himself, and they got assistance from Jane Kalesha, the Chair Tree USA chairperson, and Sam Marshall from the County Horticulture Extension Agent. So when you leave tonight, go out that side of Town Hall, look at Middleton Park. It is as beautiful as I've ever seen it decorated. Thank you to all the rec department employees, the public works, and everybody that worked on that. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I've gotten a lot of compliments on it.
Mayor
Please.
Wallace, I would like to add one thing.
Please.
In case anybody doesn't know, George Napier is also a member of the Lucky Girls band, and he has a fantastic voice.
Wonderful voice. He sometimes, with the Oak Island Boys and everything down at the rec center, he sometimes sings with them down there, I think. Yeah. As Jeff mentioned, this council, this board has, I've seen them hour after hour, day after day, consider issues in town. They came into a mess. They've gotten that sewer system virtually straightened out. They've taken actions, you folks probably won't even realize it happened, but the actions they took has saved about $7 million on the ultimate cost of that sewer system. And it was because of their hard work that they were able to do that. The debt is as low as I've ever seen it since it got high when we built the fire department, the fire stations, the police station, town hall. We assumed a lot of debt, but they took as much as they could and paid off debt of the town and saved hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest cost. So that's your future utility bills, your future taxes are going to be lower because of their hard work. Thank you to all of you. It has been an honor and a pleasure to serve with this board, Mr. Eads, Mr. Holloman. I have always respected and admired both of you. And Steve, you too. Dara, everybody here that I have known so many years. We have our new members coming in tonight. I've known Sheila Bell and Charlie Blaylock probably for over 15 years. Sheila, I think I met you when I came up about my water bill in 1998. Yeah. And Charlie was a sergeant on our police force. He was our community resource officer. There is nobody in the town of Oak Island that has helped our seniors more than Charlie Blaylock. I've watched him over the past 12 years with the Community Watch Association and helping seniors. He's helped me when I've had issues with seniors that are friends of mine. I call Charlie to find out what to do. Sin, I've known for over 10 years. She is going to probably have about the same personality I have. She might come down on some of it a little bit worse than I have, but she is very experienced, very knowledgeable. Those three are going to serve all of you just as well as anybody that has ever sat in these chairs. Congratulations to all of you and welcome to the new board. The parade, I got to say something about the parade. I've always driven or ridden in my Corvette in every Christmas by the Sea Parade since 1999. And Sin graciously asked me to drive my car, and she rode, did I tell you, did I offer? We talked, I said, why don't we, So I talked Karen Spar from the chamber into letting her, they don't usually allow the mayor-elects. So I have some pictures here. I drove my vet with Sin as the mayor-elect, and she had a friend of hers, Deborah, there, and we rocked that parade for the whole route. We had a blast. So welcome to all of you. Thank you to everybody that's come out tonight. Here lately, we've had this room full of people. That was one of my goals when I became mayor, is to get everybody in this town more involved in your council and what they do. Thank you to all of you for continuing to come to these meetings and staying involved with the best town in the United States, the town of Oak Island. Thank you much. Which meeting was it? They said I went to the Southeast Brunswick Mayor's meeting with Sin. They said it would take a lot less time now because I wouldn't be there. I talk as much there as I do in the council meetings. Next, we have presentations, proclamations, and recognitions. There's a presentation that's not on your agenda. I received a call from Gary Anderson of the Patriot Guard, and I will ask him when he comes up to tell us what the Patriot Guard does, and Bob Racine of the Warrior Ride. And Bob, I would like for you to recount for us your years of service.
I'm gonna lay this right here for now.
Oh, goodness.
Good evening, everyone. Can you all see me?
Yeah.
Good. My name is Bob Racine. I live at 1401 East Oak Island Drive, and I am the founder of the Warrior Ride. And I have served 26 years of service in the military, a little bit over 12 and a half in the Marine Corps, a little bit over 12 and a half in the Army. I retired as a Chief Warrant Officer 4, and started the Warrior Ride as soon as the war started. Now I'm going to turn this over to Gary.
I'm Gary Anderson, 2702 West Beach Drive, retired Navy. Bob and I were the ones that brought the Vietnam moving wall into Oak Island. And we're here to present to the city a plaque of appreciation for all the outstanding support we got from all the departments within the city, and also from every single one of you when we came by with the moving wall truck. 145 motorcycles escorted it in, and we had thousands of people lining Oak Island Drive. It was just awesome to see. I belong to a group called the Patriot Guard Riders, and what we do is we go to funerals of fallen soldiers and set up flag lines at the viewings, at the services, escort the hearse to the cemetery, and set flag lines up around the cemetery. I've also formed a new group here in Brunswick County called the Patriot Honor Guards. And we're going to basically do the same thing, only we're also going to go to hospices and nursing homes to visit the veterans. Okay? This plaque says, it's awarded in recognition of outstanding support and significant contribution in bringing the Vietnam Traveling Wall to Oak Island in recognition of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. And I would like to present it to Mayor Wallace.
Bob, how many tours did you do in Vietnam?
3 tours.
3 tours.
I was always off of Vietnam on ships, but I was off of there about 4 years.
And you were Army and Marines.
Yes.
Oak Rock. What is this?
This is for my next presentation.
Okay, you have another presentation?
I'd like to have our chief of police to come up forward, and Chris Franks, if he's here. He was, but I think he just left the room. I have a presentation to make to the chief and to Chris, for the reason is that since the Warrior Ride moved to Oak Island, they have supported the Warrior Ride tremendously. And every time I needed something, I would call the chief, and the chief would say, okay, Bob, speak to Chris. And just the way it should be. And in today's society, our law enforcement officers don't have a whole lot of respect in many places. All you hear is negativity, you know, and that's totally wrong. Myself as a soldier serving in combat several times, I wore the badge of the United States. And I did what I had to do, as all our service members do. Today, our law enforcement officers, they wear the badge of the United States, and they also wear the badge of our city. And they're always, someone's looking at them. So I'm going to tell all you folks in here, you know, these gents are our friends. you see them on the street, walk up to them and shake their hands and say, hey, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do for us. A lot of people are always afraid of, oh, he's a police officer, I ain't gonna talk to him. But you know, what I've done is it's taken me a little over a year to do this.
Oh,
And it's something that I am presenting to the Oak Island Police Department and to all its officers for their past, their present, and their continued service to not only the agencies like mine, the Warrior Ride, but to our community. It's all little items symbolizing what a police officer wears on his uniform or what he does. There's been a lot of hours of working here to make it look rustic. And most of all is, thanks to the major, I got a picture of a lieutenant here in his shorts with a bicycle. But I would like to present this to the chief and to Chris for the department.
Bob and Gary, that was wonderful. Thank you for thinking of doing that. Our police department knows how much we appreciate them, but it really helps when you come up and let them know just how much they are appreciated. Next, we have the appreciation of service plaques. If Councilor Painter, and Councilor Kaiser, and Councilor Weinkauf would come to the podium, please. These are always done for every election, so that's mine. Pardon? Oh, okay. Councilor Kaiser. Presented to Danny Lee Kaiser in appreciation for dedicated service as a town council member for the town of Oak Island, 2011 to 2015. Look at these plaques Lisa have made. Councilor Painter. Presented to Carol Painter in appreciation for dedicated service as town council member for the town of Oak Island, 2011 and 2015, and my newest sister. Yes, we will. Okay. Councilor Weinkauf. No, but my new buddy. And you adopted your dog?
No.
No. Presented to Jeff Weinkauf in appreciation for dedicated service as town council member for the town of Oak Island, 2011.
Now, this is my honor to present this to Mayor Wallace for her service to this town. I don't think this town could ever came out of the rut it was in without Mayor Wallace. And I have called her different times of day and night to ask questions, and she's always taken my call and gave me an answer. And this town will never be the same without her. She has been a great mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Hang this up in the garage with my suitcase the plaque for Oreo. I didn't see your family You know, when you serve on a board like this, even though there might be times that you're at each other, disagreement, they become almost your family. And when you have a town like we do in Oak Island, it's almost like you've got to take care of them. So I'm sure that Charlie and Sheila and Sin have already done that, and they're going to do wonderfully as members of our council. Next, we have adjustment and approval of the agenda. I have, for agenda item, consent agenda item number 6, I have a replacement memo. It's the issue of the award bid for the West Beach Line Extension Service Area 1. And in our packets, it was to accept the award bids, but this is to approve the award bid, right, Madam Clerk? Okay. And then we have, you, Councilor Painter, you wanted to,
Well, if we're able to just put in a replacement memo, we've had a few adjustments to the memo that's in there on consent agenda item 2, the approval of sending comments on the town's behalf to the Division of Coastal Management regarding the beach erosion study. And so if there's no objection with the rest of the council, we could just substitute the new memo into the consent agenda.
any other adjustments to the agenda, please? If not, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Madam Mayor?
Please.
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion by Councilor Painter. Do I have a second? Second by Councilor Kaiser. All those in favor, please. And it is unanimous. Next, we have public comments on general topics and agenda items. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address. You have 5 minutes to speak, please, and the clerk will be keeping the time for you. First to sign up is Jim Shire.
I'm Jim Shire. I live at 3503 East Yacht Drive. As the newest member of the Capital Improvement Committee, I was very surprised to see on this meeting's agenda that it has been proposed by the town manager to disband this committee. My wife and I have been full-time residents of Oak Island for 3.5 years. About a year ago, I asked a friend of mine from the Charlotte area who had retired here several years ago about becoming more a part of the community and options for becoming more involved. I'd been involved in the community that we lived in South Carolina and wanted to do the same thing here. He suggested looking at the town's website to see what committees had openings. Since I had been involved with the capital request and capital budget process in my working career and had also served in the capital committee for my role as a member of the board of directors at the local YMCA, I thought that I could share my experience with the Capital Improvement Committee here. I found that many of the current committee members had similar business experience, and some had advanced business degrees. I feel strongly that the business experience and knowledge of this committee is a valuable asset to the town council as an advisory group. In effect, we are free business consultants that provide additional information and viewpoints based on sound business practices to the town council to use in capital expenditure decisions they make in managing the business we know as the town of Oak Island. This committee also serves as a link between the town council and the town residents. This link provides a certain level of transparency to ensure the town's residents that capital expenditures are financially sound and made with the justified purpose of improving the town. The justification for this proposal to disband the Capital Improvement Committee was based on the premise that only capital purchases in excess of $1 million needed to be reviewed by a citizens committee, and that an ad hoc group could be appointed when and if the need arises. In the Fortune 500 company that I retired from, capital requests and purchases of $25,000 or more had to be formally presented to a capital committee and financially justified before approval was even considered. The higher the price tag of the request, the higher the approval process went within the organization, with expenditures of $250,000 or more needing the approval of the chief operating officer of the corporation. It is not a sound business practice to allow financial decisions of this magnitude to be made solely by a limited management team consisting of a town manager and a small group of elected officials that he reports to. I respectfully request that this committee remain in existence to help our town effectively manage capital expenditures that are made from our tax dollars. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Next is Bob Germain.
Good evening. I'm going to speak about the new business number 6, consideration of a request for a letter of no obligation objection regarding access point to NC 211 and Middletown Boulevard for future development.
I'm sorry,
I
but
forgot to
name
give-
and address, please. Yeah.
Bob Germain, 6610 Kingsland Drive. My comments are not against the aspect of future development, but rather the needed additional planning that we must do. We all know how congested the entire length of Long Beach Road and the intersection with 211 can be and has been for years. The anticipation of relieving some of this traffic with a new roadway is eagerly anticipated. When the West End Bridge of Middleton Boulevard was completed, it did not take long for all the citizens, west and east, to discover how much easier it was to get off the island and travel to Southport, Wilmington, Leland, Myrtle Beach, and more. Can we expect the same frustration and traffic problems at the intersection of Middleton Boulevard and 211? Think about it. We have the new St. James access, Lowe's Food and out parcels, the Charles with 1,200 residents, the possible Williamson Tract with 7,700 residents, Drapac with 719 homes, and now Midway Station proposal. Who knows what else will be developed at the intersection or along Middleton Boulevard. We need to make sure the intersection of Midway Road, 211 and Middleton Boulevard is properly planned well in advance to any of these future developments. There are already delays at times without any of these coming to fruition. Please do what is necessary to protect another bottleneck of traffic on and off of our island. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Germain. Next is Kelly Germain.
Good evening. Kelly Germain, 6610 Kingsland Drive. I'm going to discuss something about the old business, the review of all the town boards and committees, and specifically in regards to disbanding the Capital Improvement Committee. I served on this committee for 9 years, and I chaired it for a lot of those years. It's been 1.5 years since I've left the committee. I truthfully do not know what has been happening with the committee's structure or the business at hand. But I believe that certainly a restructure of the committee and its procedures could increase the benefit of maintaining it, but also cut down on the amount of time, and I know there's significant time, that staff members and department heads have to be, are asked to dedicate to it. Forming an ad hoc committee with a $1 million threshold is totally against all the principles our town government has stated being transparent and fiscally responsible to us. Citizen input has been critical to the acceptance of the programs and purchases and has been an integral part, at least the 9 years I served on it, integral part of the budgetary planning process. If you do decide to disband it and not restructure it, I truly, strongly feel that having a $1 million level for special projects is in total disregard of the notion that our town council and mayor have been dedicated to and working towards for many years, and that's to have us involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Next is Bob Salem.
Good evening. My name is Robert Salemi. I reside at 119 Southeast 4th Street, Oak Island. I'm currently on my second term as a member of the Capital Improvement Committee. The Capital Improvement Committee reviews the budget proposals of each of the town departments from a resident's perspective and prepares a capital improvement plan report, which is submitted to the town council for their use in preparing their budget. The finalized capital improvement plan report includes the specific capital improvement recommendations for the upcoming fiscal year and a view of the future needs projected for the next 4 years. In short, this is an iterative process to optimize spending required to meet the needs of the town of Oak Island. The CIC has gone through a learning process, and over the years, we have evolved from a fairly casual ad hoc approach to a data-driven approach that achieves consistency and continuity in budget planning year to year. To illustrate the impact that the CIC has had, I'll use the 2013-14 fiscal year capital improvement plan submitted by the CIC, since it is the most recent example. The department heads proposed $450,100 in capital improvements for implementation in the year 2013-14. The CIC reviews and discussions with the department heads resulted in a capital improvement committee recommendation to the town council of $112,600. The department heads decided that $337,500 of requests were not critical to their operations in that year. This represents a reduction in funding requests of nearly 75%. There was a funding request of $250,000 for coolers for sewage system vacuum stations. Prompted by CIC questions, additional engineering brainstorming and fact-finding with the department manager led to a solution that cost only $42,000, a savings of $208,000 or 83%. Finally, 22 department head funding requests totaling $9.5 million were recommended by the CIC for detailed analysis in future budget cycles out to the year 2018. Given this background, I'm perplexed by the motion that the town manager plans to make to disband the Capital Improvement Committee and his suggestion that an ad hoc committee could be formed in the future on an as-needed basis for specific projects of more than $1 million. In the current 5-year plan, he states that there are no such projects that would meet these criteria. This clearly is not demonstrated by the 2013-14 Capital Improvement Committee report, which identified nearly $9.5 million in potential funding requests by department heads, and this report is barely 1 year old at this time. The problem that I see with dissolving the CIC are as follows. 1, disbanding the CIC neglects all the value that this committee has delivered to the town over the years, and most recently in the post-sewer system period of financial difficulties. It eliminates this valuable input from future budget cycles. Secondly, it loses the collective experience of the 7 members of the CIC in working with the town's department heads in budgetary planning. Thirdly, it discounts the difficulty in establishing ad hoc committees qualified to evaluate million-dollar projects. Fourth, it removes the opportunity for resident input into the budgeting process. And finally, it robs the incoming town council, mayor, and department heads of a resource that has proven to be an effective tool for them in executing their responsibility to develop annual budgets. A motion to dissolve the CIC is dispensing with an important budget planning tool and is inconsistent with transparency in government. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Slade. Next is Jack Moore.
It should not get you up, it's all quiet.
Your giddy up, got up and went.
Jack Moore, 113 Southwest Yacht Drive. Madam Mayor and council members. First of all, I want to echo some of what's been said here. When most of you who are leaving the council Carol, Danny, and the mayor came on board, this town was that close to bankruptcy, millimeters away from bankruptcy, just hanging on by the inches. I bought $25,000 worth of sewer bonds of Oak Island. Par value, the first issue, within 2 years, they were like $76,000 market value. Today, the market value of those bonds are $103, thanks to your efforts. I commend you. I'm focused on the financial part of this town, as all of y'all know that have spent time with me. You've done a great job with it, and I'm proud to be up here saying thank you. I also want to congratulate the new mayor, new council members, and challenge you to continue forward on financial help for this community. We've got a tremendous amount of debt, tremendous amount, but with continuing in those efforts and in all the forums, if y'all remember the questions I asked this question. If at the end of your first year you had $200,000 surplus, what would you do with it? And you all gave me good, positive financial answers. So I challenge you to move forward with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Charlie Worthen.
What's his last name?
Worthen, W-O-R-T-H.
Good evening. My name is Charlie Worthen. I reside at 4799 Northside Drive. I had asked for a few minutes to make a presentation on a project that we would like for the city to consider, but in lieu of the fact that this is such a special evening for the town of Oak Island, I feel like we would like to come back at another time.
We didn't hear a word you said.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Mr. Worthen, and this is public comment period. Will you be able to do it in 5 minutes?
We'd like to come back at another date if that's postponed, if that's possible. We didn't
Okay.
recognize
Well,
this was
this is
such a
public
special
comment
evening for the
period.
town, so.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Worthen, call the town clerk and ask her to put on the agenda for January and during presentations and proclamations. And we ask that, those you can have 10, 15 minutes, okay? Okay. Next is, I think it's Baron Young. Please. Yeah, let me let him, he signed up, and then I'm going to ask for anybody else. Yeah.
All right. Sure, everybody's here. My name is Baron Young. I'm actually a resident of Ocean Isle Beach, but I am associated with the developer of the Midway Station project, and am here to speak on behalf of my family for that, for the tract of land that rests in the corner between E.F. Middleton Boulevard and Highway 211. And we're here I want to say I'm honored to speak in front of the board today, and I'd like to thank you for your time. We would like to request that you please consider supporting our point of access off of E.F. Middleton Boulevard. We think that it will be in the best interest of the town for economic stimulus if we can bring this new retail development in, and it would help expand the town's tax base. And we also are very concerned about traffic flow off of the road. As a gentleman up here before me stated, that traffic can bottleneck as it comes into that intersection off of E.F. Middleton Boulevard without that proper point of access. And as the developers of the project, we are very concerned about that too. So, I'm not going to take that much time, but I am going to say, please consider supporting us in acquiring this access off of E.F. Middleton Boulevard for improved traffic flow in the area, both for safety reasons and, of course, for the economics of the development.
Is Tom Young your father?
Grandfather.
Grandfather. But then just a couple of months after I was elected as mayor, Kyle, why is the screen coming down again?
And of course, I'm glad to take questions.
Leave it down. Your grandfather came to me when the DOT disclosed that Cloverleaf
Yes, ma'am.
211 in Middleton, and they showed me this plan, and we got with the DOT, and they agreed that that would help prevent accidents and congestion, because the only access on that corner is on Highway 211. And somebody coming here gets to the stoplight and turns right on the Middleton, and realize they can't get back there in those shopping centers. So this is going to be access so they can get back in there, and it will help relieve the congestion on 211 of people going past the red light, turning left from 211 into the shopping center.
I forgot to mention, I would like to turn attention to the board members that I did enclose a site plan and send all you
Yep,
guys.
we
You
saw
guys
it.
should have in your packet of information showing you where we plan on putting this proposed driveway.
Okay. It struck me when you were talking that you
I
must
know,
be
I know.
related
Now
to
they've
Tom.
announced they're not even going to do the.
Okay.
No, it's another thing,
Thank
but
you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to speak? Mr. Foster?
Hey, Bonnie. First of all, thank you all for work. I'm Steve Foster, 6634 Kings Lynn Drive. Thank you all for your service. The new board members, I'm sure, will do a wonderful job. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate having worked with everybody, including Mr. Eves over here, who hasn't been mentioned much this evening, but he's certainly done a wonderful job. I want to take a minute to address this capital improvement committee issue. And I'm in a unique position because I'm a citizen, but yet I'm a former manager here, which puts me in, I think, a fairly objective decision or perspective on this capital improvement committee. First of all, I'd like the board to call Chapel Hill and talk to school government about the capital improvement committees. They were shocked that we had one. And they furthermore said that they thought that this was a little bit of a truncation of the ability of the elected officials to make adequate decisions on expenditures, and also severely truncates the manager from being able to put a budget together. Additionally, I don't know how many thousands of hours, which literally over the period I was here and Tim has been here, staff has had to work with the committee doing a lot of these things over and over and over again, which has really cost them quite a bit of money. And I don't mean to try to say that the capital improvement committee did not do a good job. They did. They were a very dedicated group. They spent hours and hours on this. But as far as functionality and the budgetary process, I think that there's some limitations. And the problem is, I guess Tim and others, don't know how Tim feels about this, but other managers would feel having to get up and say, hey, let's disband the committee if we didn't maybe need to take a look at that. I'd like to thank the Capital Improvement Committee for all their work that they put in on this. Practically speaking, it truncates the elected officials that people elect to their positions, and it also hurts management and the number of hours that they have to put in, for this endeavor. But thank you, board. I appreciate it. Thank you, Capital Improvement Committee, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Frost. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak, please? Please. Oh, I'm sorry, Malcolm. I missed your name because it was scratched out right above. I thought yours was. Sorry about that. He had signed up.
Malcolm Morrison, 119 Southwest 21st Street. And Betty, you know I couldn't miss this last two.
Oh, I know. You've got to. It wouldn't have been right without you, Malcolm.
I would like to associate myself with the comments of the Capital Improvement Committee, people speaking in favor of it. I think Bob's comments were very appropriate in terms of working with the department managers and trimming things down. We want to reduce taxes and we want to reduce expenses. So I'd like to associate myself with that. What I wanted to talk to you about, I see on the item down here, regarding access points to North Carolina 211 Middleton Boulevard for future development. And in the paper, we had St. James talking about their emergency access to Middleton, and they're going ahead with it. But that emergency access, when they come out, they turn right and go up 2,000 feet and make a U-turn and come to the beach. I don't know why they're trying to evacuate to the beach rather than getting out to 211. If they have a problem there, the developer must be remiss in that he did not He put all these houses in there, yet did not plan for adequate egress in the sense of emergency. Now, the emergencies that we're concerned about are not natural disasters about to happen from a hurricane. We have adequate warning. We have days. And if you are prudent, you'll make your orderly dispersal from the community that's threatened. But there's another issue that may be out there. We have a nuclear power plant, and the probability of having an incident there is very, very small. Very small. But if it happens and you have a general emergency where you have a plume from an incident there and the wind is right, then the whole island may have to evacuate. And they're not going to evacuate out toward the town, towards the power plant. Everybody on the island is going to try to go out Middleton Boulevard. And the more access points that we have on that boulevard, you're going to have police officers there, state, county, and perhaps the town itself, controlling, trying to have an orderly egress. Think about the summertime when we're looking at 40 to 50,000 people being on the island. Now, you might say, well, we will shelter in place, but those tourists here, these day trippers, are not going to be able to shelter in place. And the other people on the island may say, well, I don't prefer to shelter in place. I want to evacuate and go out with the tourists. And we have that crowd of people going out through there. It's going to be overwhelming. And then you have these access points. St. James is allowed 2. Betty, you can help me, keep me correct on this. 2 for St. James, 2 for the Williamson track, and then there's 1 for the little parcel of land just off to the left.
I think the access points for the Williamson tracks are negated at this time. They may apply in the future. But the part of this was through the Williamson's property, and St. James had to do a taking of 400 feet wide, that road through there.
But they also have an access point. They have emergency access now that they can go out through their golf cart, crossing the little gully about 8/10 of a mile upstream of where that problematic area is. So what I'd like to see is that the town work with St. James so that we can coordinate these access points. If St. James has 2 and Williamson track, let's try to get them to come in together like this, not like this, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one down there, and minimize them so we reduce the amount of support we have to have from the police if we should have to do an evacuation. Now, I'm talking about a catastrophic event that's very, very small in probability and not to alarm. But if it's possible, and we do plan for events happening at the power plant, then I think we should take this into consideration. This is supposedly a limited access highway through there, and we can minimize the congestion by having the 2 sides come together at a stoplight and down here. And where they've got it now, they're right there at the bridge.
They're further.
Yeah,
There's a wrong impression. It's not right there at the bridge.
Yeah,
It is 3/4 of a mile north.
the one that would come out by the lake is coming in right there. And that's a bad place coming up over the bridge and all. So I would like for some planning to be done there and look at it in that manner to reduce that. So I'll leave it with that, and enjoyed talking with you these past few years.
I'll be still talking to you, Malcolm.
I thank the members that are serving here, that have served on the
Malcolm, as
panel.
always, that's 5 minutes, honey.
Got it, that's what I wanted.
A meeting would not be right if Malcolm didn't get up and talk. And everybody that wants to make comments on the proposed access points and also on the St. James Road, please forward your comments to the DOT. They are the ultimate ones that will approve or disapprove these access points. Back in 2010 or 2011, they weren't really ready to talk to Tom Young about new access points because, as Malcolm said, it is limited access. So please forward all your comments to Division 3 of the DOT. That's all that's signed up to speak tonight. Does anyone else wish to speak? You want to speak?
Good evening. For the record, I'm Ted Manis, 3022 West Beach Drive, Oak Island. I am speaking as a private citizen, but I also happen to be the chairman of the planning board. I'd like to say first some comments to the board and to the outgoing mayor. Those of you that are leaving, I just want to thank you for all the service that you've put in. It has been an incredible run of this council. You guys have brought us back from the brink, and we all do appreciate that tremendously. There's no question about that. To the new board members and the new mayor that's coming in, we all look forward to working with you, and hopefully it'll be as good a run as it has been thus far here. I would like to comment briefly on the issue of the Capital Improvements Committee, and frankly, I've got no stake in that fight, but realistically, when I saw the recommendation that the Capital Improvements Committee be disbanded, I felt the need to come and speak. Steve Foster is a very, very close friend of mine, someone that I admire, and in this case, someone that I disagree with. In this particular instance, I welcome Steve's comments about School of Government, but realistically, I suggest to you that not every comment that's made by the School of Government is with the wisdom of Solomon. I suggest to you that this country was founded with a system of checks and balances that kept us great. And it has been something that has kept us going on the right path for quite a long time. Unfortunately, as of late, it seems that those system of checks and balances has not been considered to be noteworthy, and realistically a different form has come into play, and that's considered executive and presidential executory actions. As a consequence, I'm not suggesting anything other than the fact that consider before you disband the Capital Improvements Committee the amount of tens of millions of dollars of education in the people that you are having in addition to those elected officials, people that are advising you through these various committees that we have here on Oak Island, that you are getting for absolutely free. In each of the documents that found each of the committees, just about the first thing that said is that the members of the committee will serve with no compensation. Everybody that comes on these committees does it because they love this place. They do it because they want to serve. They do it because they want to help you, because we all recognize the difficult jobs that you all have to deal with. But in dealing with those difficult jobs, you also sometimes need to be reminded to stay on the right path. You sometimes need that second opinion. That's basically what the Capital Improvements Committee is. It's a second opinion. But it's also a second opinion that is there to direct you and to guide and to help. And they spend endless hours, and they've got a tremendous amount, a tremendous wealth of information, education, and ability. Don't throw that away. The other thing is, stop and think about it. We've gone from years ago having basically $5,000 as a limit. Any expenditure above $5,000 had to go to the Capital Improvements Committee. Right now, it's $30,000. You're proposing to go from $30,000 to $1 million just with an ad hoc committee that's put together on the spur of the moment? You don't throw away all that knowledge. You don't throw away all that ability. You don't throw away all that experience and just come down and say, let's put together an ad hoc committee and decide it. Please don't do that. Consider that on your own. And I'm not saying that Tim is trying to avoid doing that. But realistically speaking,
you're going to need that help as well, Tim. And as a consequence, that is a great opportunity for all of you. You've got great wealth on that committee. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for allowing me to make this comment.
Thank you, Mr. Manis. That's all I've signed up. Does anyone else wishes to speak, please? If not, next item on our agenda is, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended, please.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Have a motion. Motion by Councilor Painter. Do I have a second? Second by Councilor Medlin. All those in favor, please. And it is unanimous. Next is, we have no items removed. Committee appointments. We have an application to the ABC Board by Everett Norton. All those in favor, it's for one term ending December of 2018, and it is unanimous. Next is committee reports. Do we have any committee reports? Roseanne, are you here tonight? Nope, okay. Administrative reports. Mr. Holloman, please.
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Eads.
Madam Mayor, just quickly, it's not really an attorney report. I just want to echo the sentiments of the council member reports. I can't thank you, Mr. Kaiser and Ms. Painter, enough for your tireless efforts. I know that this can be a thankless job at times, but I'm confident, as I'm sure everybody in this room is confident, that you all did your very best and acted in what you felt was in the best interest of the town of Oak Island. And for that, I thank you, and it's been an honor and a privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Eads. Do we have any active litigation right now?
Yes.
Okay, just one. Just one. Just one.
Two.
Two, okay. This council has done so much to get over all the litigation that we went through in past years. I mean, they have just settled them and gotten them done. Next is old business, review of all town boards and committees. And Mr. Weinkauf, I may have to ask you to take over because I do have a couple of comments on this one.
That's fine, Madam Mayor. When I asked for the town manager to go through and look at everything that might need to change or if we need to eliminate, it's because we had confidence in the town manager. I told everybody earlier the money that this council has saved the taxpayers, the debt we paid off, the interest we paid off, that was staff in this town and it was this council in this town. I have a true admiration of every committee member who serves the town of Oak Island for their dedication and their service they give the town. I was once a capital improvement committee member, and I remember all the tireless days we put in trying to get everything together to bring a capital improvement and a capital budget that the council could look at, consider, knew where they stood, and knew which way we needed to go. And everybody sees we have committee reports that committees can come up and make reports to the council, so the council has some kind of idea of what's going on. We've had several committees who have not even come up and gave us a report. And if they don't give us a report, this council does not know what goes on in that committee or any committee. And after reading the recommendation of the town manager, I'm not in favor of any big capital projects in this town until we pay off the debt we've got. And right now, to me, personally, it seems like if a committee doesn't have nothing to sit down and talk about, then we really don't need a committee in place. So right now, I'd be in favor of the Capital Improvements Committee disbanding. I don't like that $1 million threshold, but if any future projects were to come up, then we put a committee back together, whether it's ad hoc, and let them discuss it. Anything that goes on in this town, this council's made a commitment to make sure we have not one but 2 public hearings. So everybody in this town has a say-so what goes on. We've had several incidents and proposals that has been brought forward to this council for us to look at and think about, because that's what our job is. And we've had many times that the people in this town had said, absolutely not. And this council listened to the people. Nothing's going to change for what we do. Our job is to sit here, listen to the people in this town, and follow their wishes. So if something comes up where this council or somebody recommends spending $500,000, nothing's going to change, because you're going to know about it and you're going to voice your opinion. And our job is to do the will of the people. No matter what committee's out there, or if there isn't a committee, the people always have the final say-so. And for many years, people didn't have that say-so. We've actually gave that back by listening and responding to what you tell us. And it's going to stay that way. So if we do away with this committee or any committee, things are not going to change as long as we're here, as long as you're here. And that's all I've got to say.
Councilor Payne?
Well, I'll have to agree with Councilor Weinkoff that I think that a threshold of $1 million is much too high for needing some of the expert advice that we have on the Capital Improvement Committee. And I also want to commend them for the job that they have done. From my perspective, what we have facing the town is a need for funds for beach nourishment. And that is our very, very biggest and most important project, and it's going to be long-term, and it's going to take funding. We are hoping to get funding from the county and from the state, but it's going to take town money as well. So I hear what's some of the what seems to be an issue is that it's tying up a lot of time, but I guess that could be fixed. But if there are really not going to be many capital improvement projects, I'm not sure that the committee's needed. But I'll listen to what everyone else has to say.
Councilor Medley?
I think the key words here are functionability in the process. And I've watched the Capital Improvements Committee for 6 years now. And there were times when we first came on the council that I thought the Capital Improvement Committee was providing a good service, a good quality service for the council. And I think they kind of lost their focus, because their responsibility is to make recommendations as to future capital projects. And I think it's morphed into something more than that. Maybe we need to disband this committee if we don't have any capital projects on the radar for the next 3 to 5 years, and develop a new standard operating procedure for a new committee, and at the time one is needed, put a new committee in place. But I do feel at this time that committee has lost its focus, lost its direction, and they begin to delve into some areas such as the operations and maintenance of the sewer system, the wastewater system, which is not part of what their responsibility or their charge is, never was their purpose. So I'm in favor of disbanding the committee.
Councilor Scott?
It's a difficult decision, and I'll be honest, have not made up my mind one way or the other right at this point. The $1 million figure, I think, is too high. I think somewhere between 100,000, 200,000 might be more appropriate. But I'm going to wait for my decision.
Okay. Councilor Kaiser?
Yeah, but before I talk about that, I want to say something about my plaque here. Right before, are you laughing at me?
Always.
Right before I got elected to council, I got the Order of the Longleaf Pine from Governor Perdue. And at the time, I thought I would never get anything that was more dear than that, but tonight I got something, and I had all my cohorts sign it here and put their comments on it. Now I'm gonna talk about this. I'm leaving tonight. I'm not gonna be on here, and I don't feel like it's right that I vote because we've got 2 new council members and a mayor coming on. And I've talked, I respect what our town manager says, I respect what Mr. Foster says about, the school of government saying we don't need it, but I'm not gonna have to live with this for 4 years, and they are. So I don't wanna vote on it tonight, but if it does come up for vote, I'm gonna vote against disbanding it just because I want them 2 that's followed me to say so, because they're gonna be here for 4 years. And they may vote it to disband it next week, that's fine, or next month, that's fine. But I think they need to have a say-so, because they're gonna be driving 20% of this town apiece for the next while. So that's where I'm at on it, y'all. Sorry to throw that on y'all too, but you wanted it, so you got it.
Councilor Weinkauf, would you take the chair, please, for just a moment?
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to those capital improvement committee meetings long before I ever became mayor. Sat in on many of them. Right after I became mayor, sat in on many of them. That police station, this new town hall, those 2 new fire stations, all these capital projects, the committee advised on anything that was over $5,000, and I really didn't agree with that because they were advising on a new printer, for goodness sakes. We have a manager and we have staff that lets council know what they need in their budgets. I believe the School of Government, and Steve and Tim, you may know this, there was $500,000 that was added to this town hall project financing back in the day. And I fussed at that, and I was told then by the manager that the manager of a town by state statute, school government, didn't have to get further approval for up to $500,000 in a construction project. So the $1 million threshold is for capital projects. This town hall, that police station, those 2 new fire stations, they were well over $1 million. I don't believe there is a capital project that this council would consider that would be below $1 million. Not a capital project. And capital needs, fire trucks, new police cars, all those things, council can consider on the advice of the manager, and they look into it themselves. They talk to the staff members. They find out, where is this old fire truck? Let me see it. So the Capital Improvement Committee was invaluable in the years that we had so much debt. Invaluable in the years we were trying to consider what do we pay for this year, what do we put off because we don't have any money. Now, the audit is being presented tonight. Earliest I've seen it, I think, in the 12 years I've been coming here. 60%, I believe, is approaching the 60% on the unallocated fund balance. Former council struggled to get it up to 20%. So this council has taken the advice of the Capital Improvement Committee. It has been invaluable when it was needed, but we have no capital projects on the radar that anybody can tell me. And someone said during public comments that the Capital Improvement Committee gives the public the opportunity for comments and input. You can have that opportunity any council meeting and also at any budget session. So if I had a vote, I would vote to disband the committee with our thanks for all of their service. And Jeff, I watched you on the Capital Improvement Committee. But it's a little bit cumbersome for the council to have committees that have completed their functions and really are just, got the Animal Control Board on here, Advisory Board. The county has taken over animal control. So these types of committees have served well and have been invaluable, but they're just not needed at this time. And Danny, Council Kaiser, I believe that the new council members, if they decided there was a capital project that they wanted to enter into, then they could form a committee and at that time set the limit on what they wanted that committee to consider. We just don't have any. None on the radar for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Okay, Counselor Weinkauf, that's my 2 cents worth.
I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. Does any other council member have any comments? Chair will entertain a motion.
I will just make one
Please.
last comment, that I am thinking that I shouldn't vote on this either.
Boy, it spreads when I say something, don't it?
So, I don't know how to do that, but.
Well, you have to vote. If you
Have to
don't
vote.
vote,
You have an
gotta-
obligation
Okay,
to vote.
All right,
You
so
can't recuse
I'm
yourself.
thinking then that I will not vote to disband it, and let the new council handle it, if they wish to.
Madam Mayor, another, council could vote to table it.
Pardon?
Could table it, I believe, for the new council.
Is there a motion to,
Let me make that motion. I ain't made one in a while.
you hadn't made a motion in a while.
I make a motion
And
we-
make separate motions on the Capital Improvement Committee and the Animal Control Advisory Board.
That's a good
Don't forget,
point.
you got another committee.
Mayor Wallace, I'd make the motion that we table any action on the Capital Improvements Committee until the new council members get in place and have a little time to chew on that and see what they, I shouldn't have said chew on it. Think about it. That's my
Have a motion
motion.
by Counselor Kaiser. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Scott. All those in favor, please.
I got discussion.
Please.
Could this item be moved to a new business?
I'd prefer to be moved to another
Yeah,
council.
just table it rather than move to new business. Because they haven't had the opportunity to consider and deliberate. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion did you vote? In favor of tabling or opposed to tabling? Both.
Table.
In favor of tabling? Okay, motion carries 4-1 with Counselor Medlin dissenting. Now, we need a motion on the Animal Control Advisory Board, please,
And the Beach and Inlet Committee.
and the Beach and Inlet Committee, please.
I'll make that motion.
Please?
Mayor Wallace, I make the motion to do away with the rest of them.
To
You'll have to read
disband
'em.
the Animal Control Advisory Board and the Beach and Inlet Committee.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, not to
To
do
table
that.
them?
I'm sorry. Well, I flipped my
Do you want to
page
make a
over here.
motion to table the Animal Control Advisory Board?
Hold on.
No.
No,
I flipped my page over.
confusing my motions.
I know, I'm sorry.
54.
You're on page 54, Danny.
I'm getting to it, Jim. Do we need to take them one at a time, each committee?
Councilman Kaiser, I think if you just suggest a motion to dissolve the Animal Control Hearing Board and to amend the Beach and Inlet Committee charge by eliminating the last sentence of paragraph A to require that one member be a council member and change the word "for" in the second sentence to 5.
Well, that's what I was trying to say, and I
Would
said
you
it
like to
wrong.
make a motion?
Okay.
Would you like to make a motion for, on what the
I'll make it on
manager
what he
relayed?
just said.
Thank you. We have a motion. Does everybody understand the motion?
Boy, y'all remember this meeting, won't
Yeah,
you?
Dad, you're doing this good tonight, Danny. Do we have a second? Second by Counselor Weinkauf. Any further discussion, please? All those in favor, please. And it is unanimous, yay.
Sorry about that, y'all.
That's fine. Okay, next is we're going to take a 10-minute break, and we will come into new business, and we will have the installation of our Okay, if everyone's ready. Okay. We will call the meeting back to order. My last act as mayor is to have the installation of the newly elected officials, the oaths to be administered, and thank you so much, Judge, by Senior Resident Superior Court Judge Ola M. Lewis. The first oath to be administered is Mayor-elect Sim Brochure.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm
Judge,
sorry
we're
I
gonna
was
have-
talking.
No, you We're going to have Sim standing right here so she can face the room. Sim,
Okay.
can you come over here? Can you stand
This way? Do you have someone who's going to hold your Bible?
Sim has graciously asked me to hold her Bible, so you have your mayor helping to hold the Bible for the oath.
Left hand on the Bible, please, ma'am. Raise your right. I, and state your name, please, ma'am.
I, Sim Brochure,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution of
the Constitution of
the United States of America
the United States of America
and the Constitution and laws
and the constitutions and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
discharge the duties of the office of mayor
of the office of mayor
of the town of Oak Island, on which I am about to enter, according to my best skill and ability, so help me God. Congratulations,
Thank
Mayor.
you.
Thank you. I love you.
How do you spell excellent? Little joke between us there. All right. I, and state your name, please, ma'am.
I, Sheila Bell,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution of
the Constitution of
the United States of America
the United States of America
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of council member of the town of Oak Island, on which I am about to enter, according to my best skill and ability, so help me God. Congratulations. Come on, Charlie. Always.
Hey, you want to come sit up here?
Hello, how are you?
Hey, Danny.
Make him get it right.
Your agenda packet.
Left hand on the Bible, raise your right, please, sir.
Front two pages.
I, and state your name, please, sir.
I, Charlie Blaylock,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution of
of
the United States of America
the United States of America
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
of council member
of council member
of the town of Oak Island,
of the town of Oak Island,
on which I am about to enter, according to my best skill and ability, so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Who's going to hold you? Okay, Madam Clerk. Left hand on the Bible, please, sir, and raise your right. I, and state your name, please, sir.
I, Jeff Weinkauf,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution of
the Constitution of
the United States of America
the United States of America
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution of laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of
of council member
council member
of the town of Oak Island,
of the town of Oak Island,
on which I am
on which I am
about to enter,
according to my best
skill and ability.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And after that, the whole board.
Well, I'll go just over here, and then we'll get the full board.
You want us behind there or right up here?
Right there.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah. And we had a reception in between.
I'm a ham, you know it. Thanks.
Can you guys see?
My goodness, that's a hard show to follow. I'll do my best, and if I mess up, please forgive me. I'm asking that in advance of starting the new business. Before I get started, I'd like to thank I'd like to say welcome to Sheila and to Charlie, and welcome back, Jeff. We're the new board. Would any of you like to say anything to the citizens? I will. Thank you all for coming and showing your support, and we look forward to seeing you here every month. The first line on the agenda is select a new pro tem. And the chair will entertain a nomination, I'm assuming, from the members?
I nominate Jim Edlin.
Second.
Second. What's your pleasure? All in favor, say aye.
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 Then Jim's the new pro tem? Is that how? Good. Thank you. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you. If you need me, call me.
Absolutely. Well, that was easy. The second item on the agenda is our monthly meetings, which is always the second Tuesday of the month, except we have one retreat meeting in that extra in January at 8:30 on 19th of January. And I will entertain a motion to approve those dates.
Move to approve the calendar that's presented on page 72 in our packet.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passed. We have another appointment to do, and it's to the Brunswick Shoreline Protection Group. I'm assuming we also need a nomination from the members?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that to select Councilor Jeff Wayncroft to represent us, the town of Oak Island, on the Brunswick Shoreline Protection Board.
Sheila, second. All in favor? Motion passed. At this moment, we have we have our audit to be presented. S. Preston Douglas and Associates. I'm sorry, I don't know your own name. You can introduce yourself when you get there.
Now for the entertainment portion of your meeting. And see if Mr. Kaiser wanted to get up and give this presentation. I think he might be a little more entertaining than I'll be, but looks like he's gone. So anyway, I am Matt McLean. I'm a CPA with S. Preston Douglas and Associates, and this is Erica Evans, and she was one of our leaders on our audit team here with S. Preston Douglas. And this is our second year in completing this audit, so I think we've been a little better and a little more timely in getting the audit out. You know, we've enjoyed working with the staff, and we really appreciate the opportunity. It's been a good process to go through, so we really appreciate it. But getting right into it, of course, Erica just passed out the audit presentation for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2015, and what you'll notice is it is not your 170-page set of financial statements. This is kind of the Cliff Notes version, if you will, and that it really gets into the meat of the financial statements, and we'll kind of go over parts of that as we move through. So if you'll open up to the first page, there's page 3, and that's the table of contents. And you'll see everything within this presentation listed right here. And the first page we want to turn to is probably the most important portion of this presentation, and that's the independent auditor's report. And just kind of starting at the top, you know, we've audited the accompanying financial statements of the governmental activities, the business type activities, the discretely presented component unit, which of course is the Oak Island ABC Board, each major fund and the aggregate remaining fund information of the town of Oak Island as of and for the year ended June 30, 2015. It's management's responsibility for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements, and according with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. And it's our responsibility as auditors to express an opinion on these financial statements. So based on you taking a look at supporting documents and really kicking the tires of the town, we've been able to offer that opinion. So if you look on page 7 at the top, the opinion paragraph, and our opinion based on our audit of the financial statements referred to above presented fairly in all material respects the respected financial position of the governmental activities, the business-type activities, the discretely presented component unit, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the town of Oak Island for the year ended June 30, 15. So what does that mean? It means you have what you call an unmodified opinion. What does that mean? It means you basically have a clean audit. So, so once again, for second year in a row, an unmodified opinion. So moving forward, if you'll flip over to page 10, this is the management's discussion and analysis. Speak about this presentation being a Cliff Notes version of the financial statements. This is kind of that same version of this presentation, in that you can find, you have quick access of some general information that'll really give you an idea of the financial stability and strength of the town. And I'll start with the financial highlights on page 10. The assets and deferred looking at number 1, the assets and deferred outflows of resources of the town of Oak Island exceeded its liabilities and deferred inflows of resources at the close of the fiscal year by $78.9 million. What is that? That is what they call the net position. You take your assets, you subtract your liabilities, and what's left over is net position, which is a primary indicator of the financial health of a municipality. So at $78.9 million, you're in good shape there. Excuse me. The government's total net position increased by about $2.5 million during the period, primarily due to increases in the governmental activities net position. You'll see as we kind of move through, there was a restatement of the beginning net position of about $1 million due to the changes in the accounting for the net pension liability. I'm not getting too technical there. The local government commission wanted to make sure, or excuse me, our governmental accounting standards board wanted to make sure that they're being very transparent in the way they present net pension liability. So due to the changes in the accounting, it backed off our beginning net position for the year 2015. As of the close of the current fiscal year, the town of Oak Island's governmental funds reported combined ending fund balances of $14.7 million with a net change of $971,000 in fund balance. About 41% of this amount, or $6 million, is restricted, leaving, and about $435,000 is considered committed in a capital reserve fund. But what Mayor Wallace mentioned earlier, in that the unassigned portion of this fund balance of $8,238,000, or almost 60% of the total total general fund expenditures for the fiscal year, are covered with this unassigned fund balance. So that's positive, and it shows the strength of the town. And finally, you mentioned debt, and I'm hearing a lot about that tonight. Again, once again, Oak Island's debt decreased significantly, about $4.5 million during this fiscal year. All right, so moving on. Taking a look at page 14, I like this MD&A because it does kind of compare how we've improved between last year and this year. And if you look at the figure 2 on page 14, you'll see total assets. Assets increased from $47.6 million in 2014 to $51.8 million in 2015. Take our liabilities, they have decreased by about $650,000 between this year and last year, leaving us that total net position figure of $78.9 million in 2015. Take a look at page 15. That is our income statement. You take our revenues, the difference in revenues between 15 and 14, we got $32.7 million in revenues in 2015 versus $29.2 million in 2014. So a nice increase there. We did see expenses go up, and I think that does have a lot to do with the expenditures associated with the Lockwood Folly dredging project. There was grant money that came in to reimburse a portion of that money, but those expenditures added up significantly this year, giving us an increase in net position of $2.5 million in 2015. So numbers that you as a town can be proud of. If you look at the top of page 16, some other highlights that I want to talk about. Accommodations tax revenues increased by 9% over 2014 revenues. And after a multi-year pattern of declining revenues, the local option sales tax revenues increased by 3.6% in 2014 and 9.25% in 2015. So some nice increases in the tax revenues between these 2 years. And I think one of the, it doesn't look as significant, but after multiple years of decreasing net position in the business type activities, we saw one of the first increases in net position in fiscal year 2015 of $845,931. That hadn't happened in years. You know, you've been operating in the negative there, and we're in good shape in business type activities. Any questions? If you look at page 18, those two figures, you got capital assets and debt obligations. We talked about those and how the debt has decreased. So I want to move on to page 23, and that's our statement of net position. And this is, again, basically our balance sheet of the town. Takes a look at our assets minus our liabilities. And I want to point out on the third column, about, see, 2 rows from the top, you see unrestricted net position of $13.5 million. That gives the manager and the finance officer the ability to kind of spend these funds as needed. We got $13.5 million here versus about $9 million in 2014. So we've seen, you know, a $4.5 million increase in unrestricted net position, which is a significant improvement over where we've been and where you all have been in the past. The remaining portion of this you can kind of look over on your own. We've covered it in the management discussion and analysis, but I do want to point out a couple of things. First is we want to look at page 34 and 35, which are the schedule of ad valorem taxes receivable and the analysis of the current tax levy. On page 34, you can see $7.3 million in additions and adjustments to that ad valorem taxes receivable. They collected $7.1 million, leaving an uncollected balance of $166,000. So we take our uncollected balances over the past 10 fiscal years, leaving us an ad valorem taxes receivable balance of $465,541. So if you look at the next page, you look at the analysis of the levy, and you look at, you know, $2.6 billion in property tax valuations, leaves us a levy of $7.3 million. Take our discoveries, add our discoveries, subtract our abatements, leaving us a net levy of $7.3 million. Subtract those uncollected taxes from this past year, leaves us current year's taxes collected of $7.1 million. That's a 98% collection rate. That's really good. You know, Linda really needs to be commended for that. Her and her staff do a really good job there. So good shape there. The last few pages, and I know I'm standing between dinner, so in front of dinner, so report on internal control. that's us getting to know the staff and their responsibilities and their knowledge of what's going on and how these financial statements are prepared. And we feel real comfortable with Tim and with Dave, top down, and where this staff is in terms of those areas. They've been a significant help to us, and we really commend them on the job they do. And then finally, this year, a couple of changes, a couple additional responsibilities that we had as auditors. One was we had to do a single audit this year due to the grant revenue that came in for the dredging project. And so we had to analyze all those expenses and make sure that the town complied there, and they did fulfill those responsibilities. And also the town was one of about 20 municipalities picked to go through a pension demographic audit. This was something brand new to us because of the changes with the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. And, Bonnie and really they did a good job of putting all those numbers together and making sure everything was compliant in that as well. So that's where we are. Again, thank you for the opportunity, and hopefully we look forward to working with you again next year.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the audit? Thank you so much. We appreciate your getting that to us so promptly. And I think I probably echo the sentiments of the board. If Betty's still in the audience, and Carol and Danny, and of course Jeff, and Scotty and Mr. Madeline, Jim, excuse me. What a wonderful job. And I'll also like to commend our staff because they played a big part in doing this as well. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and just kind of a comment here. As I said, I've been on council 6 years, and this is the most positive audit report we've had in 6 years. And it's so good. I was so excited when I went over it the other day with you. I couldn't wait to get home and tell my wife about it. And I had to sit down and try to show her what I was talking about, because we've come so far, folks. We came from literally being right on the brink, on the cliff of bankruptcy. And we've made so much progress, and I'm so grateful for that, and so glad that I've been allowed to be a part of that. And I thank you for this brief audit report. They usually last an hour.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to give the positive reports rather than the negative ones, so it makes our lives a lot easier too. So again, we commend you all. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the Young Property Group. What you heard in the public speaking comments, have asked for a letter of site plan and a letter of no opposition. Is there any discussion or motion?
Yeah, I'd like to comment, Madam Mayor, if I may. What they really need from us is a proclamation stating that we have no issues with this. And I've thought about this and been looking at this for some time, and here's where I am, and here's where I think we need to be as a council. That is going to be one day in the future, probably sooner rather than later, a large development. And just from a common sense standpoint, if they can only enter and exit off of Highway 211, and there's a traffic light right there, I see tremendous bottlenecks there because of where they're going to have to put their driveways. I think to add the driveway to the side there off of Middleton, the way they've shown on their plan, on their site plan, will relieve a lot of that, and it will allow people coming from Oak Island to enter that project without having to go all the way out on 211 and then turning back in off of that. Also, another thing I think we need to take into consideration is that we're going to have to build a fire station over there, Fire Chief. And I don't think we want to build a fire station on Highway 211 and have to enter and exit into Highway 211. So in the grand scheme of things, this makes a lot of sense to me, because when we do get to the point of having to build that fire station, I'm sure Mr. Young would be willing to work with us as far as property and giving us the right kind of exit there so we could safely get out of our fire truck, out of the fire station into the main traffic without having to dump onto Highway 211. So, I'm in favor of this. I've looked at it a lot over the last 2 weeks, and, that's where I am.
Any discussion, motion?
Well, I'm gonna tell you where I'm at. The way I look at this map, if you come from Oak Island, you're not gonna be able to turn left into it. You're gonna have to go down to 211 anyway to turn into it. And the other thing is, my whole thing when they were building Middleton was there was never gonna be no roads coming back into it. It was supposed to be another bridge for emergency exits mainly. And now we got St. James coming into it, and who knows what else. I'm all for this development. I think it would be a great idea. But to me, I see accidents waiting to happen there.
Well, you're gonna be better off with all that traffic being dumped out on 211, with all the traffic there is there. It's a bottleneck there now.
Well, I think the plans for 211 is to be 4 lanes down through there. If the state's gonna build 4 lanes down through there, there should be some kind of amendment for them to have another entrance or something to be able to get into it. And I think that's something that needs to have talks with the state about.
Point of clarity, Mr. Young, the driveway right in and left out that you proposed there off of Middleton Boulevard, is that not back beyond the median strip? Yes.
If I would have the council turn their attention to that site plan, the proposed driveway that we're filing for our permit for to the DOT is we won't request a full access movement, but at least what we hope to get is what's called a left-in movement, so that the patrons of this center will be able to come from Oak Island down the boulevard and then turn left into the development. There will also be a right in and a right out as well, so those same patrons may go back onto the boulevard and turn right and go back down towards Oak Island.
So the patrons from Oak Island would be able to come out and enter Middleton Boulevard, just turn right and come home, rather than having to turn on Highway 211.
That is correct.
Come up and make a right turn.
That's correct. The long and short of it is, if you're a patron from Oak Island, if we get this driveway, you can turn left into the project, and you can turn right out of the project and go back home.
Yes, that was my understanding. Thank you for clearing that up for
Yes,
us.
sir. I'm glad to field more questions if anybody else on the council would like to ask me anything else.
Just a comment too, I don't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay.
But what they're asking us, listen, this is a DOT road. This is a DOT decision. DOT is the one that's gonna make this decision. They're asking us for a proclamation of support to approve this driveway is what they're asking us for. So it isn't up to us to approve it or disapprove it. Just for clarity, thank you.
Right.
Correct.
What's your pleasure?
More than happy to.
We want to make a recommendation, or what is it called, Jim?
Anyone else have any more discussion?
Yeah.
Down this way too.
Well, the DOT is going to obviously do a traffic study, correct? I mean,
Sure they will.
they're gonna take a look at this.
Yes, sure they will.
Is there gonna be a left turn lane coming from Oak Island into that driveway? Is it just gonna use this, I know there's 2 lanes there, you're just gonna use the.
I don't know the answer to that. You might just stay at the podium.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just stand here and you guys can come in with whatever you want. That is actually a question that we cannot answer ourselves, because how the process works is a developer will go to the DOT and say, this is what we need, and the DOT will come back and say, they might say you can have that, or they might also come back and say, well, Mr. Developer, you can't have this, but you can have that. And we don't know what the DOT is going to come back with. We don't know if they're going to come back and say, well, you need to install a median here, or you need to install a full-on turn lane and additional. We don't know what they're going to come back with.
Madam Mayor and Councilman Medlin, and Jacob might want to comment on this too. Like, if the board approves a letter of no objection, DOT will still review the process. There's a possibility that will require a deceleration lane in addition to the right in, right out, and left turn.
And they probably will.
Jake, you want to come up here?
That's correct, Tim. DOT does take support from the town council when reviewing accesses and projects like this pretty seriously. So if the board votes in support to do a letter of no objection or a resolution of support or something to that nature, the DOT committee would look at it and take that into serious consideration when reviewing the developer's proposal.
If DOT has already done all the studies, why don't we let the DOT decide without our input? I mean, if they've already, if they're doing the studies and they know which projects are coming up, and it's really not our road.
Well, the point is, we being it lies within our municipality.
Right.
If we offer a letter of approval or a resolution to support it, it just carries some weight with DOT that we're okay with it. It's still going to be their decision. But I think our being supportive of it would go a long way, maybe toward the DOT, because this is a limited access road. And you just don't go decide you're going to put a driveway into a piece of land off of Middleton without getting the state's approval on it. This is going to be at some point in time, a nice development, a huge development, and the traffic flow there is going to be an issue, and that's going to be part of DOT's issue, but it's our concern too, because that Middleton Boulevard goes to Oak Island, and our people coming off Oak Island to visit that property, whatever there is in there, needs to have a safe way to get in and out. So I just think it's a good thing for us to do. I don't think it's going to hurt us. I think it'll just help us.
I don't have any problem with it, Madam Mayor.
Do we need to make a motion, Tim? Is that how it would work?
Well, I'll read the motions in the book. Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we sign the letter of, what is it called?
No objection.
No objection, like the one that's in our packet, for the Young Properties Group relating to the Midway Station development on Highway 211.
Anybody make a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion passed. 2 descending.
If you'll still ask for all those opposed to vote.
All of them to what?
All
Oh,
opposed.
yes,
Yeah,
I'm
any
sorry, all
opposed.
opposed. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
I think it was unanimous, was it not?
No.
Who voted against it?
Sheila and,
Sheila and Jeff. Started already.
I'm already in trouble.
Closed session.
It passed.
Make a motion to go in closed session. I've been doing too much talking. It's on your screen right there.
Madam Mayor, have a motion, please. Make a motion, we go into closed session to consult with the town attorney on pending and potential litigation pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, subsection A and 3.
need a second? Second?
Second. All in favor?
All in favor? All opposed? Okay, now I'm gonna call the meeting back to order. Any more business?
Madam Mayor, before former council member Danny Kaiser left office, he left it a motion to wait till the new board was seated before we made any decisions. I'd like to make a motion to reconsider the boards and committees.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed?
I prefer this, I'm sorry. Sorry. If we're going to consider it, I prefer you to suspend the rules to add it to the agenda. So you motion to suspend the rules to add this to the agenda.
Motion. It stays.
Second. Motion.
All in favor? Okay. Now, where are we at now?
Well, since we have the new board here, I'd like to hear comments from them about the capital improvements and where they may stand on it. Do they see it as viable right now?
I don't. I feel like that we, as you've all said, we have been on an upward slope of paying off debt. We have no capital improvement projects. We don't need to have any until we continue to pay those off.
I would agree that with something that was said earlier about the impingement on the ability of the manager to carry out his duties. That's just my part of it.
No, I don't think it needs to be $1 million.
No, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to disband the Capital Improvements Committee and put a committee back together in the future and discuss dollar amount when the committee may be needed.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion passed.
I mean, was it unanimous?
No.
No.
4-1.
One dissenting.
I didn't want to turn on and look.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't Sheila this time. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Madam Mayor, point of order, I think, do we need to say anything about closed session?
Oh, I'm sorry, I got in the middle of it and they yelled at me. The board took no action during closed session. Thank you, Lemon. Okay, need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
All in favor? Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a good New Year.